Welcome to the Service95 Book Club with me, Dua Lipa. Honestly, reading has been an anchor through every phase of my life, and this book club is a way of sharing that joy. Every month, I'll spotlight a book I've loved and sit down with the author for an open and honest conversation about the themes, the characters, and the world they've created. And because I've had the pleasure of speaking with so many brilliant writers already, I'll be opening the archive and bringing back one gem each month. So pour a glass, grab your book, and let's get into it.
Hi, I'm David Szalay, and I'm in McNally Jackson Seaport in New York City. I'm going to be reading a short passage from my novel Flesh, which is Dua's monthly read for October. There's some sort of hold-up. Every day they expect to fly out, and every day they're told it will be another 24 hours. They're staying in a hotel with a swimming pool. They spend most of the day next to the pool. It's not really hot enough for swimming. It's not quite pool weather. It's like 75 or something. Still, they spend most of the day at the poolside. There isn't anything else to do. The plastic sun loungers next to the pool face those towers. Those 3 towers that look like spikes pointing at the sky with a few blue spheres impaled on 2 of them. He opens his eyes and sees them there in the middle distance, pointing at the empty sky. Usually in the afternoon, a sort of light sleep comes. Sounds in a spaceless world take on an abstract quality. Sparrows, a passing helicopter, voices at different distances, something else, he isn't sure what, sparrows. He opens his eyes and finds things different, the shadows in different places, the quality of the light not quite the same, softer, more opalescent, and part of the pool in the shade, making the water there look flat and deep. You want to have your last swim while the sun still has enough strength to warm you up again afterward. So at around 4 he stands up and approaches the edge of the pool. For a while he lingers there with a sad feeling. Then he dives in and the water sloshes and swallows in the drains at the side. They have these vouchers they can use in the hotel restaurant, which is always a buffet. They eat all their meals there. There's a weird selection of things. What there isn't is alcohol. There isn't any alcohol anywhere. Once or twice they go out into the city. There isn't anything to do there, so they soon return to the hotel. In the evening there's the sound of the mosques or whatever. They start up all over the place, not at exactly the same time, but sort of overlapping so that the overall effect is slightly chaotic. There's something about it that he likes though. The air seems to vibrate. When they stop, it's not all at exactly the same time either. They drop out one by one until there's only one left, and then that one stops too, and it's almost dark, and you can hear the sound of the swifts, the shrieks as they zoom around with what seems like incautious speed in the lingering twilight. Quite often he's sitting outside at that point, smoking a cigarette, with the swifts shrieking in the air around him. They skim the surface of the pool, he notices, taking a drink. It must taste horrible. The water is strongly chlorinated. He stubs out his cigarette in one of the sand-filled ashtrays and takes the elevator up to the 5th floor. He and Norby are sharing a room. Most of the prostitutes in Kuwait are from Southeast Asia. At supper on Thursday, word goes round that they'll be flying out tonight. They pack their stuff and wait in the lobby, still half expecting to be told that it was a false alarm. That has already happened twice. Buses arrive, though. There's a murmur of excitement when they see them through the front of the hotel. These 2 white buses with nothing on them to identify whose they are. For quite a long time after that, nothing happens. The buses just wait there, with their Pakistani drivers smoking next to them. Then, finally, the major arrives and they board the buses, which set off through the mild, quiet streets of the city. Facing them from the front, holding on to 2 seats to maintain his balance, the major says that they're on their way to Ali Al Salem. They won't be flying home, though. He tells them that they'll be flying to Ramstein Air Base in Germany. From there, there'll be transport to Tata. I'm sorry, lads, he says, over their disappointed voices. At least we're going home tonight. There's some problem with the plane, though. It doesn't leave until the next morning. They spend the night lying on the floor at Ali Al Salem, using their packs as pillows. There's a table with sandwiches wrapped in plastic, baskets of Mars and Snickers bars, glass bottles of soft drinks and tokens for the coffee machine. There's also a cigarette machine. Using his last Kuwaiti coins with their Arabic writing and pictures of sailboats, he buys a few packs to take home. It's already mid-morning when they walk across the asphalt to the plane. The plane is painted pale grey and, like the buses, doesn't have any markings on it to show whose it is. It's an American plane, though. They know that. For one thing, there are Americans on it, too. They mostly arrive in the morning, the Americans, looking like they've had a proper night's sleep. They're noisy and high-spirited. "Where are you guys from?" one of them asks. "Hungary," István says. "Oh yeah?" the American says. "Yeah," István says. With their heavy packs, they walk across the asphalt to the waiting plane. It's slightly cloudy. When the sunshine filters through, it's soft. If the weather here was always like this, it would be okay. They leave their packs on the asphalt to be loaded and walk up the metal steps. There isn't allocated seating, it's a free-for-all. He sits with Norby and Balázs, and they talk about the night out they're planning to have when they get home. It's something they've been planning for a long time now, something they've sort of promised themselves. This massive night out, their first night home. He sleeps on the plane. He wakes up and looks around. Everything seems exactly the same as it did when he fell asleep. Most of the others are sleeping too. From somewhere there's the sound of music leaking out of headphones. More than half of the window blinds are pulled down, including the one next to him. He lifts it a little. Strong light pushes in so that it's painful, and he slides the blind down again. It's impossible to tell from the quality of the light what time of day it is, wherever they are. It is day, though, and not night, even though it feels like it should be night. They're waiting at the airbase in Germany. The Americans who were on the plane with them have disappeared. It's just them, the Hungarians, about 100 of them waiting under fluorescent lighting with darkness outside the windows. There aren't enough seats for everyone. Some people are sitting on the floor. The officers went off somewhere as soon as they arrived. They come back later with a cart with sandwiches on it. The officers don't eat from the cart themselves. They seem to have eaten already. The men mob the cart, though. They're very hungry. There wasn't any food on the plane. While they eat, the major tells them that the buses will be there in about 2 hours. They're on their way from Tatar as I speak, he says, and there's an ironic cheer. István, Norby and Balázs are sitting on the floor with their sandwiches. They're talking again about the night out they're planning. "We need to get some speed or coke or both," István says. "Yeah," Norby says. "Do you know anyone?" István asks. "At Tatar?" "Yeah," István says. "Not really," Norby says. "You?" István asks Balázs. Balázs, eating, shakes his head. The walk from the building to the buses waiting in the darkness outside, their engines shedding a strong smell of diesel, is the first time he has felt real cold in over a year. It's quite a pleasant feeling, the clean sting of it on his face, the unfamiliar sight of his own breath. The light inside the bus is dim orange, almost brown. He takes a window seat a few rows back from the toilet and balls up his jacket to use as a pillow. He wakes from a shallow sleep to find himself looking at a European landscape. Churches with onion domes, wet green fields. It's weird to be back here.
Thanks for listening. Along with my new monthly reads, I'll also be sharing a conversation from the archive, some of my favourite chats with the world's best writers over the past couple of years. Trust me, you won't want to miss them. Make sure you're following the Service95 Book Club podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you love this one, why not leave us a review? Thanks so much for listening, and see you next time.